Russia started the war back in 2014, not just 8 months ago. Here's why. Viktor Yanukovych, the fourth president of Ukraine, was proven by experts and journalists to be a puppet of the Kremlin and received funding from Russia. During his term, he usurped power, destroyed the Ukrainian army, and was gradually preparing to hand the country over to Russia. By refusing integration with Europe, he caused public outrage and people started protesting. The violent attempts to suppress the demonstrations were met with even greater resistance from the people. And that's how the Revolution of Dignity happened. As a consequence, President Yanukovych and his henchmen fled to Russia out of fear. Realizing that seizing a neighboring country wouldn't be an easy task, Putin decided to take over the Ukrainian region with a military contingent already in place, the Crimean Peninsula. Information: Russia has based its Black Sea Fleet on the peninsula since the days of the USSR. And in 2010, President Yanukovych signed an agreement with then Russian President Medvedev, allowing the fleet to stay on Ukrainian territory up until 2042. People in Kyiv were mourning the peaceful protesters shot by snipers, the Heavenly Hundred, while in Crimea, soldiers without insignia showed up. Later, they were called Little Green Men. They all spoke Russian, had Russian uniforms and armor. Journalists asked Putin directly, "Are the troops currently in Crimea yours?"
Их там нет.
For several months, the Russian military blockaded Ukrainian military units. They seized power in Crimea, imprisoned those who supported Ukraine, and oppressed the indigenous population, the Crimean Tatars. And all this time, Putin reassured everyone that
Это были местные силы самообороны. Пойдите в магазин вот у нас и вы купите там любую форму.
Eventually, the Little Green Men held a fictitious referendum in Crimea. They forced people to vote for Russia at gunpoint. As a result, they showed incredible turnout numbers and put their collaborators in power. Putin realized that he wouldn't really get punished for the annexation of the peninsula, other than deep concerns in the UN and the EU. Feeling that he could get away with anything, the Russian president changed his rhetoric.
Вы, так сказать, аннексировали Крым. Запад посчитал это нарушением международного права.
И что, в чем вопрос?
35 military units of the Russian armed forces participated in the operation to capture Ukrainian Crimea. In order to prepare a place of arms for a further invasion of Ukraine, Putin started the war from where he had trained and equipped pro-Russian fighters, the Donetsk and Luhansk regions of Ukraine, on the Russian border. This way, he bit off a large chunk of territory from Ukraine, staged dozens of terrorist attacks, and spent 8 years preparing for a full-scale invasion.
Я думаю, западные правительства, хоть неофициально, конечно, но многие из них почти де-факто смирились с аннексией Крыма, думая, что это будет единственная территориальная корректировка.
On February 24, 2022, Russian troops attacked Ukraine from Russian-occupied Crimea, the annexed Donetsk and Luhansk regions, and Belarus, which has long been a vassal state of the Russian Federation.
Теперь, захватив 4 дополнительные территории, все, что произошло с 2014 года, становится не только открытым военным вопросом, который украинцы решают, но и политическим.
And while the world is trying to follow the path of diplomacy, it simply gives Russia time to prepare new invasions of foreign territories.
Наши оппоненты, наши партнеры, они выработали очень правильную тактику, но я думаю, что в долгую мы все равно выиграем.
If Putin and his army are not stopped, they will stand at the borders of the EU tomorrow. So world, what are we waiting for?